The United States is investigating whether Iran gave advanced training to Hamas militants in the lead up to that attack on Israel.
And that's according to current and former U.S. officials speaking to NBC News. NBC News Pentagon correspondent Courtney Q has been following all of this for us and joins us now. Hi, Courtney. So what exactly is this investigation looking into, and what do we know at this point?
So this is one part of a larger look at whether the U.S. may have had some shred of intelligence that may have indicated that Hamas was planning anything like this massive deadly assault that they unleashed on Israel on Saturday morning. The U.S. and other governments, intelligence agencies around the world are literally looking back at past threads to see if there was something that they missed that may have shown that they were planning this massive, large-scale attack. Now, as part of that, one of the things that the U.S. is looking at is whether any of these fighters who crossed across the border in that really that unbelievable, unprecedented breach in multiple locations of the border fence, whether any of those terrorists may have received any advanced training from Iran, specifically from Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps or their elite Quds force. Now, I have to say, it is for decades now. Iran has funded and trained Hamas. It would not be surprising. The link that still does not exist, according to multiple U.S. officials, is a link between any kind of training, any kind of funding by Iran, and any direct knowledge of the attack that unfolded on Saturday. That's something that people have been asking about, intelligence agencies are looking into, but at this point, we still don't have any direct evidence of that.
Yeah, and Courtney, I know National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan talked about Iran's potential involvement yesterday. What are we hearing from him?
Yeah, that's right. So, again, this has been a question since Saturday, is how did this intelligence failure happen? What was missed here? And so as part of that, people are asking whether Iran may have played some role in, again, the training, the equipping, the funding, and maybe even in some sort of way keeping this assault and this operation as covert as it was. Jake Sullivan and other officials have been asked directly. Jake acknowledged that, yes, there has been training and equipping for years, but they still don't have that direct link. Here's what he had to say.
Look, we've said since the beginning that Iran is complicit in this attack in a broad sense because they have provided the lion's share of the funding for the military wing of Hamas. They have provided training. They have provided capabilities. They have provided support. As to the question of whether Iran knew about this attack in advance or helped plan or direct this attack, we do not, as of the moment I'm standing here at the podium, have confirmation of that.
So, again, you can hear no direct link between this specific assault. But the question is, was there any kind of training that Iran, or specifically the Revolutionary Guard Corps, may have provided to some of these fighters and that may have been used specifically in this assault? Again, this is something that I think for weeks and months, intelligence agencies are going to look into.
Yeah, and so, Courtney, tell us at this point, though, any other details that they've learned about how it was that Hamas carried out this attack, both in the planning and the training, but then to take Israel by surprise, and us, frankly.
Yeah. So, I mean, one of the big questions is just the physical breach, right? So the border fence between Gaza and between Israel, it's almost known for historically for being this impenetrable fence. So it's extremely high. There are cameras, there are sensors, there are supposed to be massive numbers of Israeli forces that are patrolling, that are watching. So the notion that these fighters were not only able to get across in one place, but at multiple places has been another big line of questioning. What we learned is one element may have been that back in September, there were a number of protests and rallies along the border fence by Palestinians. They occurred for several weeks, and according to U.S. officials, they're looking into whether Hamas may have used those rallies and those crowds as cover to plant explosives that were then used to breach the fence. We do know that at least in one or two locations, explosives were used for the terrorists to get through, Savannah.
All right. Courtney Q, thank you so much. Appreciate your reporting.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.